Howdy, howdy, howdy. Happy Tuesday. Hi, Rodney.
How you doing, Andy?
I'm good, man. Your beard is looking better than ever.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
It
I
really
appreciate
looks, it's really, and coming up on Christmas, I'm thinking, I'm thinking.
I've got to do something to get rid of the Santa Claus look. I don't want to be that old. You know what I'm saying? I got to do something I don't know, maybe put a black streak in it or something. I don't know.
Ooh, oh, yeah, like Bride of Frankenstein kind of a streak. That
Something.
sort
I haven't seen that, so I'm not going to commit to that yet.
of. So it's anything exciting happened last week? I know that it's pretty weird today, right?
It's not weird. It's trending. If you want to share my screen here,
Oh yeah.
um,
Yep, yep, here we go. There you go.
as you can see, on the far left, the mortgage-backed securities are down again today, and they are trending that way. As you can see, what from September, right around this date, right in here, September, they have just been going down, getting worse. Rates getting higher. Stock markets looks like it's not haven't been doing well. So that's the trend right now. The rates are going up. You can kind of see the chart there for a that chart right there for.
So
I'll just click on the.
when those rates go down, what you were just pointing out, it makes it more attractive for investors to get that, right? Is that the way that works?
This is actually saying the mortgage-backed securities are falling in value, meaning the rates are going up.
Got it. And that means,
This
if I'm understanding correctly, not to get too far in the weeds because I'm really not it's over my pay grade a little bit. But as those rates go down, they become less attractive for investors to get involved with, and that makes the rates go up, right?
correct. Yeah, I mean, anytime the demand is lower, that's all it is. It's
Got it. Got it. Anything else on
and
that chart?
no, well, you can see it the last month how it's done. That one was the last quarter. So when you click to the last month, you can just see it's kind of getting hammered right now. But
Right. Plus, we've got, let's see if I got this right. There we go. I did it right this week. All right. I learned something. So, if I'm not mistaken, because we made our promise to talk, sorry about that. One second. Let me clear that. We promised to talk about the numbers at the beginning of our show every week. And so, good, bad, or indifferent, right? I mean, that's okay.
that's
So, we've
it.
got Jerry. Jerry's going to have an opinion here in a day or so, right? Jerome Powell.
Yes, tomorrow, right? Tomorrow they're anticipating a three-quarter point bump, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm. That's what I'm hearing about. And I was looking at, of course, when everybody talks about what's my rate, that depends entirely on the borrower, right? I think probably, or not entirely, but it greatly dependent on the borrower. And I saw in one of my things, whoops, that I watch on this end, um, that the rates were today at 6.42 for a lot of folks. Does that sound about right?
It's that may be a hair high, but just depend on if you're looking at a primary, I think you can get one a little bit cheaper than that. Good credit, but
Right. Right. Good credit. 15-year fixed is 5.7. And jumbo, they've changed the loan limits on FHA now too, right?
it is not official. It is not official. It's supposed to. We think it's coming out next month, but a lot of people are saying like an MI company come out today and said they'll take up to 715
Right.
as a conforming loan amount today, probably because they're thinking it's going to be 725 like when it comes out. So what they're doing is they're hedging their bet a little bit, saying I'll go ahead and take it, and then they're going to just it'll be transferred to Fannie Mae after.
Okay. And the reason for that is clearly just because of how home values have gone up significantly enough as to where they've got to compensate a little bit. Is that the reason for that?
Yes, Fannie Mae wants to. Fannie Mae looks at these average sales price. I'm sure they got some kind of formula to say that across the country or in each area
Yeah.
that they want to. I think they probably want to be a certain percentage of the market, right? So when the median sales price or median home prices start going up, that they're going to go up as well.
Well, I mean, they've got to stay, you got to stay current. And I mean, as I've gotten deeper and deeper into this over the past few months, it's become really interesting how there's so many different tentacles to this. I mean, there's a lot of variables. And these guys, I have a lot of respect for Powell and I mean, all these guys, because it is quite the balancing act that they're trying to maintain, especially now, right? Because we're on the cusp of this recession thing. I mean, we're just,
Yeah, it's that's for me. That's why I have a service like MBS Highway here that gives me up to the minute stuff on the markets and advises us to float or lock because I know over the last year or so you really have enjoyed kind of getting diving deep into this economic stuff. But I'm like, man, I don't have time. I'm so busy with this, doing mortgages and managing and things like that. It's like this company right here is a lifesaver for me because it keeps me up to date, tells me what's going on, and then it advises me where I can advise our clients.
right, yeah, which, which is a beautiful way to kind of to put it to bring us into the topic today. And it just won't be terribly complicated or anything, but um, the idea on today's title, and for anybody that's seen us before, um, the thumbnail's a little bit different, and we're also doing a different time slot. So if somebody's used to 1 o'clock and you're catching us later, that's sorry about the change. We just need to do that. We need to be flexible, you know. But today's topic is marry the house and date the rate, and that has gotten some positive and negative things. I want to kind of chat about this a little bit. And Rodney, like always, apparently I'm a talker, so flag me down, you know, if it's necessary. On the marry the house and date the rate idea, here's where I'm coming from. With rates and prices going up so fast, naturally a lot of buyers are going to be choosing to sit it out, or to get on the sidelines, or when you're looking at numbers that, like, I'm seeing 642, that's not up to speed. Yours, that's why people want to tune in and see your opening, is because you have the right now numbers. But with numbers like this and all the change taking place, it's clear and obvious and reasonable that people would sit on the sidelines. So um, the idea on marry the house and date the rate is pretty simple. It's simply, if you're in a position where you can buy a house, you can do it now, expecting to be able to refi down to a lower rate later. Now that's making an assumption that the rate's going to change. So let me make a couple of points here. The idea, neither Rodney or I, for anybody watching this, it is not Rodney. I don't mean to speak for you, Rodney. I'll speak for myself. On this live stream, it's never been our intent to try to make somebody feel like we have an ulterior motive. I'm not trying to get you to buy a house. I don't think Rodney's trying to get you to get a loan unless you're ready for it. We're only supplying information so that you can make sorry, make the best decision for you. That's all we want to do, is be an aid to help you to do that. So our goal on this live stream, or any of them, is not to try to talk you into or out of anything. It's up to you. We just want to help you make better decisions, or give you the tools to make a better decision. So what I'm stumbling a little bit because I'm looking at notes to the right, which you can clearly see, but I'm looking at. I'm sorry about that. I've got another monitor here, but it's too small. Um, but to be honest, I'm telling my clientele, unless they're in an emergency situation, that sitting and waiting and watching for a minute is okay. I mean, with Mr. Powell coming out with numbers tomorrow and rates are uncomfortably high for a lot of people. Um, I'm saying that wait and watch isn't necessarily a bad thing. From a lot of agents, you might hear, and I don't mean to give anybody a shot, but you might hear, buy anyway, it's going to be fine. Well, we don't know that yet. I think historically, if we look at things, it tends to work out, but there's prudence, I think, in just, hi, Angie. I think it's prudent to kind of wait for a minute. Are you okay with that
Yeah,
perspective?
yes. I mean, first of all, everybody is in a different situation, and your that opinion of waiting, and I think that's what a lot of savvy borrowers are doing right now. Their rates are we're the public, me, you, the whole world is not used to this kind of rate, a 6% plus mortgage rate.
Right.
Uh, we're not used to these sales prices that have been going up over the last few years. So yeah, combining all that together, sitting back and waiting for a minute and not rushing to make a decision is a fabulous decision. I will say this: I had a loan officer said just right before I walked in here. This is how crazy the market is. He had 7 approvals out this weekend looking for homes. 5 of them got beat. And 2 didn't make offers. So out of the 7, 5 made offers, and all 5 of them got beat. Now, how in the heck did that happen this weekend? We talked, last week or week before, inventory sitting longer. But if you still have a good priced house, it is going fast. I mean, that is it's just crazy. It's like 1 minute they get something to look at, next minute, you know, I hear one loan officer losing 5 deals over the weekend. So, um,
I'm
but
not laughing because it's funny.
yeah,
It's
it's just
baffling.
our market is it's fluid. It's fluid. It's changing every minute, and people need to do what's best for them. Because I will say this: when you ask that, Andy, think about this stat. We've talked about this before. Is that the do you remember the satisfactory report of everybody that's bought over the last 2 years and didn't get 5 seconds to look at it?
Yeah,
And
buyer
a lot of
sentiment.
Yes, and a lot of people were dissatisfied with their purchase. Do you remember that? I don't remember the percent. So, that
I
number
do.
right there, coupled with, just being prudent and making a decision to wait to purchase, it tells me that it's always going to be a good decision when somebody's trying to figure it out what's best financially to buy or whatever.
What you're talking about, there's two different things that the Fannie Mae recently put out. This was really an interesting read. It was the buyer seller housing market sentiment. And that what they do is they take the temperature. I don't know what's going on. They take the temperature of consumers and what they use that sort of as a projecting feature. They're trying to look into the future. If people don't feel good about the housing market, it's probably not going to do much. That's one thing. The other thing that you were talking about, I think you were, was how many people ended up buying houses early on when they were in a hurry. They were pressed, trying to beat other offers and no inspection, all that kind of stuff. How many had buyer's remorse? They were, and some of the numbers, and I don't know where they get these. One of them was 75%. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean you hate your house. It just means there was some part of it maybe you weren't crazy about. You ended up with fixing a water heater or something, but pretty high numbers. And so that's the reason I've always resisted the don't offer to. I mean, get your inspections. Know what you're buying. That's all I'm saying. That's You're right. You're absolutely right about that. So, um, um, so here's the way that I'm looking at this, as far as marry the house and date the right. If you need to get a house, whatever the circumstance might be, I mean, we've always got options of renting. Well, I mean, that's out there, which isn't in some cases a good option. Others, it's not so much. Renting is really expensive now, really expensive.
Mhm.
But if you have found your dream home, or whatever the circumstance is, if you've got to move, and it can be a life change, a job change, whatever the situation is, but if you've got to have a house versus a rental, and you can handle it financially, then marry the house, date the rate. If you can handle it going forward, because that's what we're future planning, right? Your job is secure. There's changes. I don't mean to be a fearmonger, but things are changing all over the place, But if you're solid and confident of what you're doing here the next few years, then and you're going to be in a house for a while, then absolutely marry the house, date the rate. Um, I think that there's been few, and Ronnie, you could certainly speak to this better than me. There's been few circumstances other than the people that bought a house right at 2008. Rarely has a circumstance occurred when somebody bought a house, hung on to it for a while, hanged on to it, hung on for a while, and did well. I mean, there's been few instances when somebody bought a house and it didn't turn out well. Does that make sense? Is that true?
100%. Yeah, I mean, especially if you've if you've owned a key for more than 6 months. If you've owned a house for more than 6 months, you've just you've hit the equity jackpot in the United States history, right? So
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
um, let me let me throw you something on this. When I see this, Mary, um,
Marry the house, date the rate.
you're probably thinking I'm crazy, but man, I'm just not a big fan of that advertising. And I'll tell you why is, first of all of our, we try, as the majority of mortgage professionals try to do a an annual loan review with their clients anyways. It may not be anything really crazy complicated, but it's there. And a lot of people do it to work with their past clients. Um, but it's kind of always the thing is like I've never looked at the house like it's always going to have this mortgage on it. I always hope that my first time home buyers start out with a 30-year, and if they love that house and they want to be in another 10 years or whatever, then we take them to a 15 or something and start working it down to where it's financially it's best for them. The problem I have with this, Mary, the people who's putting it out there, they haven't been at their companies for more than 38 seconds. They have taken they've jumped around, taken sign on bonuses and all this other stuff, and they're working at these companies. But if you pull their NMLS number, they haven't been there for more than a year or two. They probably hadn't even been there that long. So what are you actually going to get out of that? Because honestly, it's the cost when they go back to refi are going to be the cost to refi. And then if the company's saying, well, I'm going to build in $500 or give them a free appraisal or something like that, that's probably not the best situation for them to get the best deal on the open market, right? So if they're going to go back and refi and they get a discount from company X, then they'd probably get a better deal if they just shopped around, right? And got the better deal. But so that's something I don't like, because I thought, but when I seen it, I was like, well, how would I even offer that if I wanted to offer it? Like I'm gonna say if you refinance in the next 8 years, 7 years, I'm gonna give you a discount. But I'm 53. I mean, retirement's coming up at some point in time, whether it's 65, 85, I don't know. But like I said, these people that a lot of loan officers are even with their same companies for where this person is instructing that. So that's the thing with me. I don't really like the whole kit, the whole thing. I just don't understand. I don't think it's. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how would I tell one of my existing clients, I'm going to give you a discount because today's rates are high, but I'm going to give you a discount, but I have no clue when the rates are coming back down. I have
Right.
no idea what the landscape is and all that. And we could offer a flat discount, but I'm just worried like something happened, our bank sales or whatever, and this place closes their doors,
Right.
right? So what happens after that? Yeah, that's all of that is kind of just the I don't know, kind of icky with me about that one. This and I rarely see something like this that makes me kind of icky, but this one kind of does for some reason. And changed my mind on it, Andy. When we seen this topic, I was like, awesome. Andy's going to kill me when I tell him how I really think about it.
No,
But
no. Well,
how do you feel about it? I mean,
I'm glad you asked that because that's the whole point of this thing is a counterpoint. Here's what I'm getting at. When you hear this is really good. When I hear marry the house, date the rate, that sounds like a slimy sales trick to me. That's what it sounds like. It says ignore the high prices, don't look at that. Just buy the house anyway. That's for somebody that's trying to close a deal. And as I think I've probably stressed to excess, that is not what we're talking about here at all. I don't like that idea either. And my whole point on this thing is, and I said it before, if you're financially prepared to buy a house in the current situation, if you're prepared and comfortable with that, then it's an okay thing. And down the road, you can refi for a lower rate if they drop. Would that be is that a fair statement?
yes, 100%. Yes, and that is pretty much any time you really buy a house, unless you've absolutely rock bottomed it out at one
Right.
little piece in time in history. So that to me is always a strategy. Is I heard somebody one time say you especially as you're younger, you need to manage your debt as well as your assets. So, and that's the way I look at it is that yes, if you are managing, if you're starting a 401k and all this, you're going throughout your career, yes, you need to be looking at your rates while you have loans and interest rates and make sure they fit your they fit your DTI, your debt to income every month. Make sure you're not house poor and you're paying it off in a timely manner where you can retire and reach those goals. We always are doing that. So the whole marry the house, date the rate thing is like, well, we've kind of always wanted to manage our debt on the house for the whole term, not just the first 5 years, for the whole 30 years
Right.
or whatever it turns out to be.
Yeah. I think from my perspective, what because I saw this and I'd never read that phrase before. In all the years I've been in business, I'd never heard that before, and I thought it was pretty catchy, and that's what caught my attention. But I think I think if you have a good intention, in other words, what we've already said, we're not trying to sell you about anything, and if you're comfortable with it financially, I'm repeating it on purpose. If you're comfortable with this, you and your lender decide that this is okay and you can do it going forward. What the idea is to it's easy to get a little too focused on rates because I think our relationship goes way back when you taught me that rate isn't the only game, the only part of
Mhm.
what goes into a loan, right? And I
Right.
think that that's what this is about is to help people to see that rate is not the only thing. There's more to it than that, and big part of it is if you find a house that you really like. So here's a couple of short things. Does that sound okay with
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Because
heck
I
yeah, yeah,
really
yeah,
appreciate this is good
no.
stuff. um, so let's just go through a couple of things, and then I'd like to be able to touch on Angie's question. She's got some good ones there. Can you see them? Okay.
I can.
Okay. Um, the uh, the thing you can do if you're looking for a house and it's just priced too high, and whoops, and that's pretty normal these days. You know, they're too high. But there's three things minimally that you can do, and we'll just touch on these real quick. If you want to find a house for X amount of dollars and you want to find a better deal, you can expand your search area. If you're looking in Williamson County, if you're looking in Brentwood, expand it to the rest of Williamson County. You can find a house for certainly less than Brentwood. That's fairly obvious for anybody that knows the area. And the other one, and this is going to kind of dovetail with Angie's questions, is explore alternative financing options. I mean, there's certainly that's why Rodney and I work together. That's way over my pay grade, but explore financing options may get you into a house better, more comfortably, more reasonably. And the third one is, and I don't know if I'm a big fan of this, but it's still reasonable. That a third option on helping you get into a house is grants, gift funds, and down payment assistance. They still those things are still around, but they're
Hmm.
not nearly so prevalent these days, or are they?
They're uh, they're pretty. I speaking for us, we have 30 or 40 what's called affordable housing resources grants that are available, but it's coming increasingly harder because if it's Davidson County, they have to be in a certain area median income, and it's hard to find a house that fits the sales price with the area median income. The houses are getting too expensive to where a lot of our affordable housing things, and these companies like affordable housing or nonprofits, they may have to start uh, going outside of Davidson County or
Right.
something like that. But they are still around, and they're a lot of banks donate so they can, like our bank donates to them, so we can lend that money out at 10 and 15,000 at a time.
Got it. Got it. Well, then, if it's okay, Rodney, maybe we can add. This is never going to fit on our screen, but I'm going to add it anyway. Here we go. It's never going to fit, so we'll just read it. Angie, hi Angie, has asked a question. I'll just read it for anybody that's listening. With rates and home prices high, I'm wondering if lenders are thinking about offering 35 or 40-year home loans to make the mortgage payments lower, kind of like car loans offering 15 years.
Well, has car loans already went to 15 years?
I don't know. I haven't bought a car in a while. I don't. I don't want to.
Oh goodness, I hope they're not financing cars for 15 years, but they might be. Yes, Angie, you're right on target. I had a lender at another bank the other day talking about they were thinking about a 40-year loan or it was rolling out or something, and I was like, goodness gracious. I am that 30-year loan. If you take, let me see if I can. I may have it. Well, I probably couldn't find it fast enough, but I've got a crazy amortization schedule. And I'm gonna pull it up, and
Yep.
and here's why I don't like the 30-year loan.
Want me to
Um,
share this?
yeah,
Want me? Okay.
100%. Yeah. All right. So this is on a 30-year loan, and let's bump up the loan amount to 500,000, and we're already at 6%. So look at this right here. The very first payment is 25. The very first interest payment is $2,500. Your principal is 497. 5 times. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what would make me sick about a 35 or a 40-year loan. I just couldn't. Um,
And
the
that's a chunk of
customer,
change.
yeah, the customer would really have to. At this point, at this point, with compliance and the way compliance is, I'd probably have to send him a email saying, "Hey, I don't recommend a 40-year loan, but you know, they would have to have that in writing to come back just so I'd be compliant. I bet because that's why I don't like it. Long story short, Andy, is that you just get the first few years of a 30-year mortgage is terrible,
Got it.
and
That was
so
that's a pretty
30.
scary number right there.
It really is, isn't it? Um, and people do refinance like another comment she made. She had had a couple refinances and they worked out really well. But yes, I've done thousands of them that work out great. I mean, and most of them do. Most of them do work out where they pull out equity or do something else, pay off other debt that's not very good. So they do work. But unfortunately, those 40 years are coming out. So hope they don't become prevalent. Just for the sake of building equity and sustainable home ownership. You know.
Right. That's really pretty amazing. So I think that covers everything that we're trying to cover. I know that you've got a meeting you've got to run off to, Rodney. But I'm really glad that we had the that you shared from your heart what you're thinking about that marry the house and date through eight, because I've always had um, that sense that was just a technique to try to get somebody to buy something. And like we said up front, that's not what we're about. So
Right. Yeah.
maybe I'll add a question mark to my title.
Yeah. I mean, and I'd say there's a company out there that may do it the right way. Like if you're a big company and you say, yeah, marry the right, and they're giving out a $500 coupon that you can present to a branch, hoping that branch is there in a few years, right? Because a lot of these banks and stuff go away. I was wanting to. We're getting some hats made. I'll have to give you one when I get in, but ours is. I'm getting 1906 put in the front of it because that's when F&M opened its doors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm proud of that, man. We've been a community bank since 1906, and
Maybe
to
we
me,
could send Angie one.
100%, 100%.
Angie, you
Angie,
want
put
a
your
hat?
yeah, I'm getting them made. So tell her to put her address in here. Angie, put your address in here. We'll send you one.
Just you can just email.
Well, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. On that site there, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, just that's better. Good. Well, that was really what a good live stream, Rodney. I really appreciate it. And like always, I'll talk to you a little bit later. But listen, I know you had to go. And for anybody that matters, we did run our slot from 12 noon instead of 1 o'clock. We'll be back next week at 1 o'clock like normal. I think. I think. But anyway, had a good time. Anything left to add, Rodney?
No, have a good week, and we'll talk soon.
You got it, buddy. Thanks a lot, Angie. Have a good day now. See
See
y'all.
you.
Bye.